Good morning, guys. Welcome to the fourth session of EDUC 2110. I'm going to go ahead and do a video walkthrough instead of a talking head opening video. Let's go on into content and you want to open up session 4. Oh, and I want to show you guys something. You can actually access your checklist in two different ways. You can access it through this page and of course click things off here if you want, but you can also access it through grades checklist, and it should pop open when you click this, because that's how I have it selected. So you could have your checklist sort of floating in another window, separate from your navigation through the course, and that might be useful to you. So I've got my checklist over here, and I'm just going to kind of put it in the background for a second. Obviously you got to this page because you're watching the welcome video now. You might want to check out the course plan. It gives you a big picture view of what's due when. And a student last night told me that the D2L, the course din calendar, was not showing the things that were due last night. And I try to set that up for you as a courtesy to try to help you and use the learning management system well. I mean, it's good design for me to do that to help you. It helps communicate things and reiterate things. But remember, this course plan tells you when things are due. So you want to make sure I don't want you to be too dependent on me to tell you everything. So be sure that you're checking this out. And so we knew last night that these things were due, and you know that this coming, or in 2 weeks, March 8th, these 3 items are going to be due. So make sure that you're kind of keeping an eye on the course plan, and that your own personal calendar, whether it's a Google Calendar or a paper calendar, that you're noting those things. And I will try to get those, I'll try to get all the deadlines in to coursed in between now and the end of the semester. I don't know why those things aren't showing. Normally when you have like a Dropbox that's due, it'll automatically go into the calendar. So I need to kind of look into those settings and make sure I'm understanding that right. All right, so always check out the course plan to kind of remind yourself what you're doing and when it's due. All right, so be sure that you're making progress in your field experience. You signed up for some kind of field experience, one or more different settings, about a month ago. So you want to be making sure you're going in and getting those hours done. I provide links to a number of things. Here are the instructions to the final, sort of the overall project. This is a link to the orientation that I had forced you guys to go through after session 0. Kind of explains a lot of different things, including introducing the U-code stuff. If you are a U-code participant, remember that you've got a bunch of links here to kind of help make sure you're making headway, including a checklist. So you can be clicking off, checking off these items. In fact, I need to add one right here. In addition to watching or attending Mr. Michaud's live evening presentation, you need to do the follow-up survey, and I'll try to put a link to that as well. I'll get that updated for you guys. So all of your U-code stuff is here. I hope you've signed up for observations if you're part of this group, and that you're making progress on that. This session we've got a project, a paper, actually an essay. It's sort of reading, thinking, trying to think about who you are as an educator, and draft a philosophy of education. So I'll just go ahead and let you check out those instructions, but basically you're gonna think about the way you have been taught, and you're going to think about the way that you plan to teach. So it's a rumination on teaching and learning and what you believe about how it should be done. And it's a philosophy of education will probably change over a lifetime as you change. I wrote one back in probably in 2000, and I came across it. Actually, I haven't found mine, but I found my husband's, and it was really funny to read it and to read it aloud to him, and for him to laugh at some of the things he was saying. And anyway, philosophies of education change, just like lots of things you believe and understand change. So I do write this note here that you can take till the end of session 7 to complete this, but I try not to. I try to present it here in session 4 for the go-getters especially, just to get it done. And certainly you can maybe like use spring break to get it done, or you can use this session. You can get it done this session, session 4. That's what I encourage you to do. So try to help you balance your work, but it's one of those things where if you find that you need more time to do it, you can certainly take that time through the end of session 7. The problem with session 7 is it's only a week long and there's another huge assignment due at that same time. And that's the problem with saying, oh, just take till end of session 7. Because I don't like to load you up at the end because other professors are going to do that to you. So you might think to yourself, I should probably just get it done now while the semester's manageable, because it always gets worse. All right, so blogging about the session 4 issue. The prompt is on the next page. We're returning to the formula of blogging. You're going to write a blog post. You're going to share it with the Google community. You're going to promote it on there, and you are going to respond to 2 peers on the Google community. Okay? We're going to be looking at approaches to curriculum, and it is on the next page, the issue. So let me go to the next page. And I try to use some reverse psychology on you a little bit here, boring but important, kind of challenging you to read through some sort of dry information about curriculum. If you think you know it all, read through it and see if you agree with these definitions. I chose to use a textbook sort of definition of curriculum and learning, and if you look at curriculum texts, you'll find some form, probably some version of what is presented here. Depending on who's defining it, the definition will sound slightly different, but I think that the Sowell text does a good job of providing a definition. But why is this important? Why do you need to know about curriculum? Well, it's because that's what our issue is about. Our issue is about, we're going to be looking a little bit at the Common Core standards, and you're going to give your position on where you stand in relation to the Common Core. And in order to understand Common Core and understand some of the issues behind it, you should understand what curriculum means, what it is, and that it has different levels. You should also we should have some kind of definition for the word instruction. That's not the same thing as curriculum, but it can be related to curriculum, and we should have some definition of learning. So it's about defining some terms and making sure we're kind of on a similar page before we jump in. Also, I talk a little bit, I give you a little background on some standards in Georgia. You may be aware that we use the Georgia Performance Standards in Georgia, but now in our math and language arts, we also use the Common Core standards. And actually, I need to get a little update. I need to brush up on what we're doing in science. We may be using the next generation science standards right now, and any of you science folks may be aware, and you can definitely let me know. But anyway, standards are always changing, and so this is what we're exploring. I've got you various sort of essential questions with some materials to explore, and then the prompt is down at the bottom here in this colored area. So you're going to define the Common Core State Standards. Be sure you don't just start off with your opinion. I'm going to look for a straight up definition. Like if you had to explain it to a parent, what is it? Don't give me your opinion. I don't want to know what you think about it when you're telling me what it is. When you're giving me a cold, cruel definition of Common Core State Standards. Then you need to tell me why supporters say we need it. Again, we're not giving your opinion necessarily. I don't need to know if you're a supporter. I just want to know what supporters say. And that's why you dip into all this stuff above. And you can look at other resources as well. What reasons do opponents give? Again, I still want to know what you think about it yet. I want you to show me that you can see what supporters say and what opponents say. Then in the 4th bullet point we see is your chance to chime in. Okay, given what supporters and opponents say about Common Core standards and given this other evidence perhaps, where do you stand? Okay, I want you to give 3 reasons for your stance. Don't just say, given the above, I am against the Common Core. I want you to tell me what it is about it that you're against or in favor of, or maybe you're mixed on it, so that's fine too. All right, so I want you to cite or link to at least three sources in this post. I know in previous posts I've said, you don't necessarily have to do that, but I will be looking for that. So you can cite them at the bottom in a formal kind of way using APA or MLA or Turabian or Chicago or something like that. Or you can use, if your sources are linked on the web, if they're available on the web through hyperlink, then you can actually just use hyperlinking as your citation. That's fine. That's a conventional way to do it when you're writing on the web. All right, guys. And then the last thing is an enrichment article. Oh, this is a bunch of extra sources on Common Core. The last item is an enrichment thing. It's an article. It may have been a bit of a stretch, but I just thought it was so interesting when I was designing this module last year. I don't know. I just thought that it was an interesting article that is tied to, I mean, it is sort of related to curriculum. So I challenge you to read it and see if you can see why I put this article in the module, because sometimes I wonder why I did. But it is enrichment, it's optional, and I hope you enjoy it if you do read it. All right, guys, that's it for now. Let me know what you need. Thank you.